math yesterday, so you had a better homework completion. But considering I gave you 2 days worth of work on Wednesday and everything was open, my homework completion rate yesterday was terrible. I shouldn't say mine, yours was terrible. And I had a few people email me like, Miss Hoff, I don't know what's going on. And that was fantastic. Most of them I could help. I had a couple of people like, yep, I'll come in the morning. Yep, I'll come in the morning. And I had one person show up. One. Okay? Now, I will tell you, I knew they had tried the night before. And sometimes you just need to go to bed and start over in the morning. Because that person did 7 problems in about 8 minutes. So after they were like, oh, God, I do know what I'm doing. But here's what I have to remind you. In Alex, you can click on the percentage. I clicked on that percent right there. It will bring up your attempt. The very first problem, people are like, you didn't even show us how to do one of these. Yes, I did. Okay? But it wasn't worded exactly the same. The other thing is, click the little eyeglasses over on the side. It walks you through it step by step. It says the line passes through negative 5, 5. Start at this point, use your rise and run. The other common problem that people had was number 5. Okay? And on this one, people are like, Miss Hoff, you said that we could write in point slope and it's counting it wrong because your point slope is wrong. They give you a nasty answer. Who wants to deal with fractions? Miss Hoff, you never talked about fractions in that video. I know. Because if you do it correctly, you don't have to deal with fractions. So this problem, if you click the eyeglasses, this dealing with fractions does suck. But if you go to the bottom, other correct answers include, and it gives you the point slope. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm uber frustrated because we are not using our resources. The minute something gets hard, we're done. We quit. Folks, that is life. If I quit as soon as something got hard, I would not be anywhere where I am right now. You have to figure out what you have to do to continue to push through. And that's something I'm going to harp on you all school year about. Okay? Those of you that did your online yesterday, you're going to cruise today. Those of you that didn't, you got a lot of work to do. Okay? Over the weekend, you're going to want to make sure that you feel super confident in everything from this chapter because Monday's a review and Tuesday's your test. Okay? All right, let's get you a note sheet here. All right, we learned slope-intercept form, was that Tuesday? 3-4. And remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And in order to use slope-intercept form, you have to have the slope, and you have to have the y-intercept. The y-intercept. So this equation is really nice if they give you the slope and specifically the y-intercept. But as you guys found out yesterday, many times they don't give us the y-intercept. Okay? So then we deal with point slope form. So point slope form, remember, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. The nice thing about this format is you can plug into it so easily. M is your slope, and x1, y1 is a point on the line. The reason this is so much better is because it can be any point on the line. Absolutely any point on the line. Now, as I stated in the video yesterday, when you look at the point and you look at the equation, they're going to be opposite signs. Because there's a minus sign, it actually changes the sign from the point. Okay? So if we look at example number 1, it says, write an equation in point slope form. Fantastic. I love that form. That goes through -2, 3, and has a slope of 4. So point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So now we need to plug in, and I remind you, your ordered pair is x comma y. So we write y minus 3. In the point, it looks positive, so in the equation, it's negative, equals 4 parenthesis x. Careful, it'd be plus 2 then. In the point, it looks positive, or it looks negative, sorry. So in the equation, it's positive. They're always the opposite. That's it. That's done. You guys do number 2 on your own. Same thing. Point slope form, negative 1, 2, slope of negative 1/2. Y minus 2 equals negative 1/2 parenthesis x plus 1. Nicely done. Negative 1x in our point, so it's positive in the equation. Positive 2 in our point, so it's negative in the equation. Miss Hoff loves point slope. I love point slope. But today I'm really going to test your ability to read. And really not your ability, but whether or not you actually read the directions or not. For example, the next one. They want us to write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line that passes through negative 1, negative 7, and has a slope of 5. We said slope-intercept form is fantastic if they give us a slope, which they did, and they give us the y-intercept. Did they give us the y-intercept? How do I know if this point is the y-intercept? X would have to be 0, right? Every y-intercept x is 0. Well, is x 0? So this is not our y-intercept. So slope-intercept form sucks kind of then. But they gave us a rando point and a slope. Guess what I plug into? Point slope. So step number 1 is to plug into point slope. Plug into point slope. Step number 1 is to plug into point slope. So I would write y plus 7 equals 5 parenthesis x plus 1. Now you can't quit because it wants slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. The biggest thing about point slope, it's the only one with parentheses. So step number 2 is to distribute the slope. And you distribute the slope because then it gets rid of the parentheses. What's our slope in this problem? 5. So I'm going to leave y plus 7. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 1 is 5, so plus 5. Slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. What's the last thing I have to do then? I got rid of my parentheses, which Miss Hoff said was important, but I want it in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. I have to get rid of that 7. So the last step is to get y by itself. And in this problem, that would be by subtracting 7 to the other side. So when I subtract 7, I end up with y equals 5x minus 2. Y equals mx plus b. All right, so read carefully. That wasn't so bad, though. 3 steps, we can do it. Yes? Flip it over. we start sweating on this one? Why do we sweat on this one? Ooh, it's got a fraction on it. It's got a fraction. We read carefully and we say it says slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. We just did that, not a big deal. They gave me a random point and the slope. A random point, you need to use point slope. And the scary thing is, instantly we panic because we have a slope that's a negative. Or sorry, not a negative, a fraction. Process is identical though. Step 1, plug into point slope. So if I plugged into point slope, I would write y minus 4 equals very good. Y minus 4 equals negative 3 halves x minus 2. Now to get it into slope-intercept form, my next step is distribute your slope. And this is where we're like, oh, my heart's racing. I'm starting to sweat. I'm getting nervous. Okay, y minus 4 stays. Nobody touch your calculators. Negative 3 halves times x is negative 3 halves x. Here's where we're going to need a little help. Negative 3 halves times negative 2. Go to the side. Make it a fraction. So I really have negative 3 over 2 times negative 2 over 1. And we want to make that whole number a fraction. Then what should I do? Simplify. What numbers can you simplify? 2's become 1's. Just don't lose your negative right there, yes? Now multiply across negative 3 times negative 2. Or sorry, negative 1. Positive 3. 1 times 1 is, which really is 3. Positive 3 or negative 3? Positive 3. So I really have plus 3. I'm going to tell you guys, Alex is really nice to you. The numbers that you have to distribute and the fraction you have to distribute, if you end up with something crazy, you're probably wrong. I'm just telling you, okay? They don't have anything crazy on there. But I will tell you, this is crucial for me to see. If I don't see that as work, you're going to lose points. What's the last step? Okay, we need to get y by itself. And in this case, I have a negative 4, so I need to add 4 to the other side. Y equals plus, say it again, 7. Anybody else get plus 7? I will tell you, as this morning people have been working, one of the biggest mistakes they're making is that when you take a negative times a negative, they're mixing up that sign. They have the number correct, but they're losing your positives and negatives, which then throws your y-intercept off and you end up getting the problem wrong. So just be really aware of your positives and negatives. Okay? Let's go to the next one. Write an equation in point slope form. Yeah, Miss Huff loves point slope form. So much easier. For a line that passes through 8, 1 and negative 2, 9, we have an issue. What's the issue? 2 points. What are we missing? The slope. How do I write something in point slope form if I don't have a slope? I wouldn't graph it. I don't want to go get graph paper. Could put rise over run and use your slope formula, yes? You guys have done this. You like all aced your quiz last week on slope formula or on the slope. So let's do it. Number 1, this time we have to calculate the slope. Miss Hoff's going to go crazy here in a minute. What letter goes on top for slope? Y. Thank God you remember that. X, Y, X, Y. What Y do you want to start with? 1 minus 9 over 8 minus negative 2, which really means you're adding, right? 1 minus 9 over 8 minus negative 2 1 minus 9 is negative 8. 8 plus 2 is, can you reduce that to be? Very good. Divided 2 out, you end up with negative 4 over 5. Now I have a slope, so I just get to plug into point slope. Do you think it matters which point you use? They'll accept either one as long as you do it correctly. Take a minute, I'll give you the answer for both of them. You pick which point you want to plug into and use your slope of negative 4/5. Write me the point slope equation. You could have y minus 1 equals negative 4/5 times x minus 8. Or you could have y minus 9 equals negative 4/5 times x plus 2. If you type either one of those in, you will be correct. What's different about the next one? It's in slope-intercept form. They gave us 2 points. What do I do first? Find your slope. Everybody on your own, calculate your slope. Calculate your slope. Did you get negative 1? Yeah? Okay. What's my next step? Plug it into point slope. Does it matter which point we use? Is there one that's probably smarter? Which one? 3, 0. I'd pick anything with a 0 in it, right? I like the number 0. Work smarter, not harder. Technically, could you plug it into 6, negative 3? Absolutely. I'm picking the one with the 0, though. Question, Gavin? Yep. But we always start with plugging into point slope because we don't have the y-intercept. Yep. So if I plugged in 3, 0, what would I end up with? Y minus 0 equals negative 1 parenthesis x minus 3. Okay. Then what's my next step? Distribute my slope, right? Hey, question. What's y minus 0? Y minus 0 would be just y. Can we just write just y right there? Okay. Y equals negative 1 times x would be negative 1x. Negative 1 times negative 3 plus 3. And last but not least, the final step. Get y by itself. Isaiah, how come you say that's it? Yeah, you're absolutely right. Technically, the last thing you check is to get y by itself, but in this case, we had that y minus 0, so y is actually already by itself. Yes, you have to end up with slope-intercept form, but start with point slope. Start with point slope every single time. It will make your life that much easier. Okay, we're not going to do what the last problem says, but we're still going to put a problem there. Okay, we are going to do one that many of you got wrong on your homework yesterday because it's on your homework and on your review and on your test. Okay, find the equation for the line below. Hey, here's the cool part. Do they tell us what type of equation it has to be? What are you going to use? Point slope. It's so much easier. So I have to have a point, whoops, a point and the slope. Okay? What's a point on that graph? Negative 3, 5. And technically you could have 1, 3, right? Either one of those. space down in that. We're not going to do that problem, so you can use that space. Absolutely, good question. Use the space on the bottom of your paper. You're not going to actually do that problem. How do I find my slope then? You could do rise over run. You could count that graph 100%, yes? I will tell you right now, some of you are really good and you get that right every time. You know what I would do? You just wrote down 2 points, didn't you? Mm-hmm. I'd use a slope formula. Many of you that are counting are forgetting whether you're going up or down, left or right, and whether or not you're getting a positive or a negative slope. Now, if you're good and you're getting it right every time, counting boxes, you go for it. I personally use a slope formula. So I'm going to right now use a slope formula. I would go 5 minus 3 divided by negative 3 minus 1. 5 minus 3 is 2. Negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4, which reduces to be negative 1/2. You pick a point. I don't care which one. Write me the point slope, and I'll give you the answer here. You pick either point. It does not matter. Is it? Because you got to put your y's on top. This is x, y, x, y. So your slope formula is y minus y over x minus x. Thank you for asking. Either one. Find the slope? Yeah, you got to find the slope. Yes, that's what I already said. You could have y minus 5 equals negative 1/2 times x plus 3. Or you could have y minus 3 equals negative 1/2 x minus 1. Either one of those. Don't waste your time on slope-intercept. Look at your y-intercept. Stop talking. Look at your y-intercept. Is it going to be a whole number? It's going to be a nasty fraction. You want to deal with that? But they always give me the answer in that. Yeah, they do, but you don't have to. You don't have to. Okay? Grab a piece of work paper. Go to it.